Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Betrayal at Krondor. We are in the sewers underneath Krondor itself, and my torch is about to go out. Let's go ahead and light another one. There we go. Alright, so let's go explore this route. I'm studiously avoiding certain places because I believe that advances the story. This does not. Let's see what happens when I break one. This is, of course, not the way up. It's good that we got all these lockpicks. Are super cheap. It's a shame I can't get more at that price. Okay, I'm pretty happy with keeping this if we get any points out of this. Okay. Locklear's lockpick ability has increased to 81. It's 1 point. Better than nothing. Alright, well, let's go run around the room, make sure that it shows up all on the map, and... Yep, alright. Let's keep going. Okay, do we have anything down here? No, we do not. Okay, back this way we go. Not much in that corridor. We've got a rogue's body here. Let's see what we've got. 3 coins. I will take that. 3 silver only. 3 rations. I'll take that. And a 7% Moradel lamprey. Is not very good. Weapon craft. Turn off those. Get it up to 84% though. I don't know exactly what happens if you get it down to like 0. I assume the weapon breaks and then you're done with the weapon. Like it's just gone. It'll disappear. Did that ever happen to me as a kid? I don't think so, because it takes a really long time for it to get that low. I mean, obviously, if you were going to use that one, then it would definitely be pretty bad, but let's just run around the room. Oh, hello. I missed you. Rope. Does that stack? It does. Okay, so we got some rope. It's not bad. We could try that, but I don't think it's worth doing that for the lockpick skill. Okay, and this gets us back to where these corpses are. And I did loot them all entirely. Okay, but there is a pathway to the north. And I don't want to go just yet. Let me bookmark, because there's something that's going to happen that I'm not sure if I want to... what I'm going to want to do. I'm not sure exactly how it'll work. I've got a chest here as well. Nothing in it. More rope. I'll take that. Does that stack? It does. All right, you get a lot of rope stacks out of that. Someone whistled. Turning round, Locklear felt a stone sink in his gullet. fearing that they had left themselves open to attack by yet another band of Nighthawks. Oh, that's what those guys must have been. To his great surprise, however, a familiar friend stepped from the shadows. By the 12 gods, Locklear, your hair! It's just like you, Jimmy. I haven't seen you in 7 months. Then I rescue you from a band of Nighthawks. And the first thing you want to talk about is my bloody change of hair color. What is going on around here? The front gate is smashed and there are Nighthawks loose in the sewers. Hey! Change of hair color! Are you dyeing it, or is this a joke? So, there's been some comments about how his hair color is supposed to be different. I've seen people say it's supposed to be black and blonde. Not exactly sure who's correct. I have not read the books. I started to read this one. I do own it. I mean, the book that is based off this game. But it just never got anywhere in it. I don't know why. Probably some other books came out that I wanted to read more. But yeah, I have not gotten into this setting. Maybe one day. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm guessing also that this is probably a lampshade of the fact that they're not using an actor with the proper hair color, but I don't know. Not Nighthawks, imposters. Someone has been trying to convince Prince Arutha that the Guild of Death has re-established operations here in Krondor and is using the sewers as their hideout, hoping that the Lancers will come down and clean out the place. In doing so, I think whoever is running this game hopes that the Lancers will root out the Mockers while they're at it. What, take out the Guild of Thieves? Doesn't seem likely from all the things you've told me from your days as a Mocker. More to the point, we know now that a few of the Nighthawks escaped to Romney when we smashed them up after that affair with Princess Anita. They certainly won't dare tread Krondor streets for a while yet. I'd been tracking around down here trying to find out more when I ran into those fellows. So, why have you come back so soon to Krondor, Lockie? I thought you were going to be gone another 4 months or so. I've got bad news from the Northlands. Looks like the Dark Brothers are stirring again. They raised Merman Damas's battle standards over Sarsagoth, and there's a Mordell army gathering to attack the kingdom. This Mordell used to be one of their clan chieftains, something of a hero during the Riftwar against the Tsarani, too. I thought Prince Arutha would be interested in talking to him. I don't like this, Lockie. The Mordell's stirring again in the north, and someone mimicking the Guild of Death. My bump of trouble says that things are going to get far worse before they get better. I assume since you're down here that you're trying to get into the palace the way I showed you a few years ago. Yes, I was thinking I would have to pry off the grate somehow, but if you have the key, it would save me a great deal of trouble. It's still on me, it's all yours. I can find my own way into the palace. I'm going to creep around a while longer down here and see if I can unravel this particular mystery. Suit yourself. I, for one, am anxious to get out of this hole. Come and get me for breakfast tomorrow after I've spoken to Prince Arutha. Okay, I guess it's not this point that it happens. Did I open this one already? Yes. There are not 2 chests here. Alright. Royal Key of Krondor. Locklear turned the tear-shaped key over. Prince of Krondor's standard, he said, indicating the bas-relief image of an eagle soaring high over a mountain's peak. I can see why thieves might be interested in getting hold of a key that opens every door in the prince's palace. They gave it to someone who is formerly a member of the Thieves Guild. Okay. That is another pit. No. A pit yawned before them. Careful not to edge too close to fall in, Locklear shook his head. The only way we're getting across that is to swing across it, he said, glancing up at a small hook on the ceiling. He nodded. Apparently, we're not the only ones to face this dilemma. I think I could attach a rope up there. Shall we try and swing across? Sure. I have got spare ropes. Whee! Thanks, game. Locklear flailed. His last impressions were those of a dark shaft and hard-packed earth rushing up to meet him. And that is just death. Oh, I wanted to try that. And since there was nothing on the other side, I figured I might as well not use that that rope I had. It probably is only the one use of the rope, but that would have been two. You know, one to get over one way and one to get over back. Although, I didn't test. Well, we need to cross another one. Well, we don't need to cross another one, I don't think. But we want to cross another one. We should get skill points or something for that. Alright, so we'll go up here. And you want to rest. Fine. Just lit another torch, too. I guess that's one of the advantages of the light spell. Oh, pardon me. Whee! I like the little animation you get. And yeah, that does use a charge of rope. We'll just call it that. The rope has 18 charges left. No chests here. This is not the one that we want to take. So I will just ignore that. I believe that this is the one that we want to take. Okay, there is nothing here. But this does connect up with a passage that we took before. There were some rogues there that we killed. Alright, let's go ahead and bookmark. The ladder disappeared into a small dark hole in the ceiling. Climbing several rungs, Owen turned to the others and called down. There's a locked grate up here. Shall we try to open it? Yep. With a pleasant click, the key turned in the metal lock. Locklear turned to his companions and motioned for them to follow him up the ladder. The gate swung open. Revolted by the thick scent of excrement in the chamber, Locklear hastened to the ladder affixed on the far wall and ascended its filth-slick rungs. Behind him, Gorath and Owen reluctantly did likewise, gaffing on the noxious vapors in the shaft. This is nothing, Locklear grunted, shoving upwards against a grating. All the windows in the palace are open right now. You ought to smell it in the winter. Darkness surrounded them as they slithered out of the privy, their only impressions of the chamber provided by the faint flicker of a distant firelight. 10 yards before them, the hall joined with an elaborate colonnade stretching in either direction. Somehow I hadn't pictured my first visit to Krondor like this, Owen sighed. Yeah, I had a feeling that was Owen. Falling blindly into step behind Gorath and the Signor. What, you didn't like the romantic tour? Locklear chuckled. Not many people get to see that way into the palace. Drawing up short, Locklear's features brightened as he observed a pair of approaching figures lost in conversation. Self-conscious of his bedraggled condition, he straightened his uniform and cleaned his throat with a stentorian air. Greetings, Prince Arutha and Master Magician Pug. As glad as I am at the sight of you safely home again, Locklear, I can't say that my nose is as well pleased. I thought we had broken you and Senor James of clambering around in the sewers. You know the way of old habits, Highness. We encountered a bit of trouble with the gates, so I chose a more expedient, though somewhat more disagreeable path. It came to a happy end, however. James told us to send word that he is well and would see you in the morning. Incurable sewer rats, the both of you. I shall have to order that each of you be accompanied by a score of washing maidens to keep you presentable enough for court. Welcome home, Lockie. Thank you. As happy as I am to be here, I'm afraid I come with bad news from the Northlands. I expected as much. With the false Nighthawks prowling my streets above and below, it could only mean the Moradhel are up to their old mischief. What do you know? Motioning to Gorath, Locklear introduced the former Moradhel chieftain with a wave. Slowly, Gorath lowered his hood. The gasps and startled reactions of those crowding the hall helped mask the stealthy entrance of a second Moradhel in the chamber, this one armed with a longbow. Yeah, I mean, we can see him in the background there. Assassin, get down! Ooh. No, that's pretty impressive. Yeah, but now we're not going to be able to question him. Chapter 2, Shadow of the Nighthawks. Stop changing my resolution, game. A whisper led him through madness. He stumbled forward with unfamiliar feet, 10 times too small to belong to a warrior. There were lights on the hills around him, fires, voices shouting through a downpour of sloshing hoofbeats. He reached for a sword, then remembered that he hadn't a sword that night. He had only been a boy of 12 midsummers. Only a boy, and yet he led the ragged remains of his father's tribe. Who leads the Moradhel? The whispering voice insisted in his head. I must see more. Years, a river of men coursed together in a bleeding tide, and he was amidst them. Screams rang. A howling figure silhouetted himself against the moon, brandished a bloody sword aloft. The wolfish figure screamed words of wrath and damnation as he cleaved his way through his Moradhel brothers. He was Delican, former general of Myrmendamus, leader of the unified tribes of the Northlands. And he was the enemy. Gorath! The memory detonated into a million fading thoughts, each fleeing after the faint echoes of a weak whisper. Before him now there was a new image, the face of a fair young girl whose pale blue eyes watched him with weary interest. There were others, too, all seated like himself around a polished council table, all studying, all dissecting. And Gorath was the object of their scrutiny. I cannot find the truth, my prince, the tired girl whispered finally, quietly. His mind is chaotic. I find images, but I cannot hold them long enough to understand. Narrowing his dark eyes, Prince Arutha glared at Gorath. He hides his thought? His thoughts? Gorath is Moradhel, Pug quickly interceded for his exhausted daughter. Even with Gamina's exceptional talent for sensing thoughts, his mind may have many innate psychic defenses. I may need to send for one of my advanced students. No need to disturb studies, Master Magician Pug. The Moradhel speaks truly. Council members exchanged surprised glances and turned their attentions to the aged magician seated next to Pug. Lowering his eyes, the man made a dismissive gesture. Forgive me, I do not mean to presume, but I have looked into his mind as well, Makala continued. War in the kingdom would have many wide-ranging effects, not the least of which could lead to a disruption of trade between our two worlds. My Emperor of Saranuani would be most displeased if our rift-making secrets were seized by barbarians in warfare. Gorath glowered at the Sarani magician. Trading agreements notwithstanding, the Moradhel watching your borders, Nighthawks spy on your imperial cousins, and before the snows there shall be an army come to the kingdom. Heed my words, Prince of Krondor. You must prepare your troops. Anger flashed in the thunderheads of Arutha's eyes as he rose to his feet. What I must or must not do will not be dictated by a dissident Moradhel. If not for Locklear's good faith in you, I would have had your head staked on a pole and paraded up and down the low quarters of Krondor once I saw you. Well, now that's going a bit far. I have been tolerant while I listened to your vague speculations based on incidental half-heard conversations, but how am I to believe what you say? I mean, the fact that people are trying to kill him to prevent him from sharing that information with you might kind of be evidence of his truthfulness. I mean, obviously it's not proof, but it's certainly evidence. I mean, it could all be a vast plot to trick people, but still. What evidence have you laid before this council to prove what Delican intends to do? What evidence? I bear the humiliation of betraying my vow as a Moradhel, and the indignity of surrendering to a sworn enemy. why betray Delican to the Kingdom of the Isles? Of what benefit to you is it to snare him? He is leader in name only. However bitter a draught Delican may be for your kith and kin to drink, magician, his rule is black poison in the gullets of me and mine. Already he enslaves my cousins and rapes the land. Bloody his nose, Prince of Krondor, blunt his swords, and the unified tribes will cast him down in wrath. Let him cross your northern border, however, and 10 other clans will join their strength to his, and the legacy of Merman Damus will be but a spark next to his glory. Where would you have me send my troops? If indeed he intends to strike against one of our northernmost possessions, which castle shall I garrison for the attack? High Castle? Iron Pass? North Warden? If I'm to fight a war, by my teeth, tell me where you would have me fight it. Would that I could tell you! Delican holds in good confidence only a handful of cowering dogs, and among them only a few are privy to his war plans. His private councils are restricted to choice individuals, his advisors Narab and Nago, his mistress Lialan, his son Moraelf, and Nighthawks. He keeps foul company, that leader of yours. Your Highness, if you give me leave, I believe I can find the evidence of Delican's intent. I will need someone to accompany me to Romney and supplies for my journey and a small parcel of gold. Romney, what do you think you can find in a provincial river town in the heart of the kingdom? I aim to catch a bird in flight. Of late, Delican has emptied a good deal of his treasury to revive the service of the Nighthawks. In exchange, he has demanded tactical information about kingdom holdings. He's turned the Guild of Assassins into a guild of spies? Only for a time. Although the payments have been left in various hidden locales, messengers were always sent to a rendezvous in Romney. If I go there, I may be able to intercept information concerning a forthcoming attack. Would such evidence suffice? Perhaps. Damn me, but I don't trust you, Gorath. How do I know that this isn't a plot of yours? We could weigh the evidence of our heart's content, and our cousins could be slitting the throats of my serfs as we sit dawdling. Go to Romney, but you will provide for yourself. If this is part of some secret Moradel scheme, I'll not look the fool before the world. Pug, unroll the map for me. The scroll smelled of dust. Scrawled in chicken scratches and spider tracks, tiny lines staggered across the moth-eaten paper, indicating the paths that were the major roads within the kingdom. Side note, chicken scratches was a reference made specifically to cuneiform, because it does kind of look like chicken feet. Pointer in hand, Arutha bent over the map and pointed to a large black dot. We are here at Krondor. At dawn tomorrow, you will leave through the main gate and rendezvous with your escort, Senor James. I know you might have preferred Locklear's company, but he has business elsewhere. You will head to Romney, provided one of Delican's assassins doesn't slit your throat first. You should reach your assigned ford within the month. In Romney, you will join a special detachment of King Liam's soldiers staying at the Black Sheep Tavern. They may be of service to you. Nodding, Gorath took in Arutha's advice, listening studiously as the prince reviewed the details. If you find the evidence, I will act only when James has conveyed the information to me. Is that clear? Only when I receive James's word. Until then, I wait. Understood, Gorath replied. Good, Arutha replied, slapping the surface of the table with his palm. Looking around the council chamber, he noted the wearied expressions of all who sat around the map. Why don't you let Gamina and Makala show you around Krondor? I have a few things I need to consider alone. Reading the offer as a polite dismissal, the Warren Council members began to file out of the door, most glad to be on their feet again, following the grueling session. As Pug passed by, however, Arutha snagged his sleeve and drew him back to the table. If you don't mind, I would have your counsel, cousin Pug. Certainly, Pug replied, resuming his seat. I am all attention. Ooh, hey, neat. As I see it, Delican could attack only two potential targets for could have only two potential targets for attack into the kingdom. High Castle and McCormick? And North Warden. His fortress at Sar-Sagoth is 300 miles to the north, and I doubt he has the resources to defend a line that long. So an attack at North Warden seems unlikely. Leaving High Castle, which is a viable alternative, but neither target seems to have an obvious goal. I know you are no field strategist, and you hate to become involved in state matters, but I should like you to delay your return to your home at Stardock for a while. I feel ill at ease.
You are not alone in that. I too have sensed something unusual in the air, but I won't ascribe it to anything as dire as magic. More likely we suffer from bad soup. Feelings aside, I will call up the militia reserves from Malak's Cross, Darkmoor, and Lytton. Join them to a detachment of the Krondorian Lancers just outside of the Dimwood. James will send word to me there. And what of the garrison? It will remain in place. I have considered the option of a full push south, and it seems unlikely. But I will give Delicon nothing. Our agreement remains. Now we wait. Gods help Gorath if he betrays us to the Moradel.
Chapter 2, A Shadow of the Nighthawks. I think that was escort Romney, Gorath to Romney. So we can talk to you, we can enter, we can go to the sewer. The majesty of the palace was impressive, drawing appreciative glances of astonishment from all as they wound through room after room of banquet halls, reception areas, and at last a colorful decorated gymnasium before entering the throne chambers of the Prince of Krondor. Well, let's talk to you. Katala.
A pleasure to see you again, James.
Mine is a greater pleasure, my lady. Is Pug about?
You've just missed him. He and Makala went off to discuss magic someplace, and if I know my husband, that means I won't see him for a few days. Even on holiday, he can't seem to take his mind away from the art for long.
In many ways, he and the prince are much alike. Where is Arutha, anyway?
Out with his twins and the Princess Anita. It seems your famed luck is running thin today.
Quite the contrary, for I shall have your company. If I may have a moment.
As much time as you need. What may I do for you?
Gamina. So when do I get to meet this stunning daughter of yours? I've heard quite a bit about Gamina, but I've been too busy to make the time to meet her.
I imagine you will see her as soon as I do. She's more than likely trailing Pug and Makala about the palace. Any opportunity to hear her father discuss magic, and she's immediately at his side. Then, too, it may be she's hiding away from Arutha's twins. She's not quite interested in boys yet.
She looked a little bit older than that, but okay.
Magic supplies. I know that quite a few of the artificers in Stardock have begun exporting their goods from the Academy. Are there any good places to buy magical items near here?
The most notable one that's close is a little place called Stardock Annex, at the Abbey of Ishap and Sarth. Officially, they have no ties with the Academy, but there's not much we can do to keep them from using the name. There's also a fellow by the name of Dabe who buys from us, but he lives a long distance from here, out north of Romney, if I recall.
Okay, that seems to be about it. Alright, so that's Makala's wife, I guess? So what about enter here? The room was cramped.
Locky, James muttered, looking through the Signor's personal effects piled in disorganized heaps. You may be a fine swordsman, but your personal organization leaves quite a bit to be desired.
Oh, good. We can take stuff. We do not have Owen with us right now, though. Alright, this is what I was worried about, that I wouldn't be able to take his things. Alright, so you have a two-handed broadsword in 100% condition. You have a medium crossbow in 100% condition. You have standard kingdom armor, though. Got some rope. Got some torches, some other stuff. How are your skills? Alright, 55 defense, 51 accuracy crossbow, 41% melee. No casting, of course. 42 assessment. I still have no idea what this really does. 37 armor craft, 39 weapon craft. I'll probably just have Gorath do both of those at this point. 30 barding, 44 haggling, 62 lockpick though. 42 scouting, 53 stealth. Speed 5 though, that's pretty good. And decent health and stamina. Much lower strength than Locklear though. stuff I can actually carry at this point. You can pick up a few things. I'm kind of hoping that this is a known thing, that this is just going to be a, like, every time we'll always be able to do this, because if so, that would be nice. This might also be a place where you can just store stuff, I don't know. This is also one reason why I saved it, so that I could double check this kind of thing. I think I want these. Take that. Alright, I'm going to assume that I can come back for the rest of this stuff. Probably sell that armor. I don't think there's any real need for it. And now we have a lockpick of 92%. Pretty happy about that. Glad I discovered that. It would have been useful earlier. There is a chest back at the dwarf place that might be worth running to. But I think we looked into it, and it was just that I couldn't get the thing to not explode in my face. Might be able to do that now without it exploding in my face, so, you know. And I don't think we have any desire to go back into the sewers. They could be seen. James halted the party to consider. Let's not give Delican any more help than he needs. If we leave through the palace's main gates, we might as well have trumpeters going before us and announcing the fact to everyone within the Kingdom of the Isles. The sewers are probably our best option. Okay. Guess we're going back into the sewers. James pulled the grate open. Immediately, he was overwhelmed by the stench of the sewers and looked back to Gorath for his advice. "It smells awful down there," he said. "Are you sure you're ready to go in?" "Yep." They made their way into the reeking blackness. I guess I should have taken those torches. Anyway, we'll go ahead and call it an episode here. I did actually forget something that I wanted to do with Locklear. I think he will get some skill points in whatever you've emphasized, because one fact said, make sure you've emphasized the some skills that you want him, that you want for him. And I did forget to do that, so I'm going to go back and load up, do that. Also, change a few things around, because I'm pretty sure we're going to get Owen back in our the third slot. But I'll double check that. I mean, we'll find out in the next episode. See you next time, everyone.